Hello, this is Robert McPhee, and welcome to part one of our three-part video series about comfort zone. In this first video, we're going to talk about what exactly a comfort zone is to help you understand that. In our second part, we'll take a look at why it is that we get stuck in our comfort zone, even in cases when the results we're getting are not what we wanted. And then in the third video, we'll talk about how to bust out of our comfort zones and create the lasting results that we're really looking for. I told you my name is Robert McPhee. I'm the author of a book called Manifesting for Non-Gurus. Our work is really based on getting people to bust out of these comfort zones and get those lasting results that they're really after. Here's a little bit of information about me. I'm the founder of a company called HeartSet Incorporated. I'm the creator of a program called HeartSet on Fitness, which I've been working for years in the health and fitness industry, helping people learn how their mental approach to health and fitness actually determines the results they get. I told you already I'm the author of a brand new book called Manifesting for Non-Gurus. I'm also a founding member of the Transformational Leadership Council and the Southern California Association of Transformational Leaders, two organizations that give me the opportunity to work with some of the most brilliant speakers, authors, and trainers in this industry. And then finally, I'm the former director of training for Jack Canfield, who is the author of the Success Principles and the co-creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul book series. And working with Jack for better part of 4 years as the director of training for his organization was a great opportunity for me to be able to get an in-depth knowledge of the kind of work that we're talking about today. So we're going to look at this idea of comfort zones and how we get stuck in them and how to bust out of them. And I want to just kind of set a premise, which is that all this work is really about creating the changes that we want in our lives. As we go into this, the only reason to really be concerned or interested in what comfort zones are is because we do want to bust out of it. We do want to get beyond a place that we've gotten comfortable, that we've gotten familiar, and create a new result. So we're going to look at a four-part model that'll help you really clearly understand exactly what a comfort zone is and why it can be such a powerful influence on our life. And it really starts with this idea of creating the change we want and creating the results that we want in our lives. So as we look at this four-part model, you'll see on your screen that we're starting in the lower right-hand corner of what will emerge as four corners of a square. And it really starts with what we just talked about, with the idea of the results that we want to create. And the question that I always ask when I'm sharing this work with a live audience, the question I always ask is, what comes before any result that we're going to get, any change that we're going to create, any new result? What has to happen before that is ever going to show up? And the answer is that we need to take action. The name of my book is Manifesting for Non-Gurus. Sometimes that idea of manifesting has kind of a magical sound to it, but the reality is all of our work is built on the premise that we must take action in order to create the results that we want in our lives. And I think most people understand this. Our work is not based on sitting on the couch hoping that if we just meditate and chant the right mantra and sit in the right way, that the results we want will come knocking on our door. That isn't the way it works. We have to take action. But the next question is, what comes before any action that we take? And this is where it gets a little tricky for some people, but the reality is that before any action that we take, there's always a thought. There's always some mental activity, some thought that goes on before the actions that we take. Sometimes this is very well thought out, sometimes it's very instantaneous, but there's always a thought that leads to the actions we take and the results we get. And it's important to keep in mind that we think in pictures. We hold our thoughts in our mind in the form of pictures. And the reason that's really important will become evident as we look at the next question, which is what leads to the thoughts we think? What leads to those thoughts that lead to the actions we take and the results we get? And the reality is there's a lot of different things that lead to those thoughts. There's a lot of different influences that are putting those images in our minds. And what we're going to do for the purpose of this discussion is we're going to lump a lot of them into a single category that I call external influences. And I told you that I had done a lot of work in the health and fitness industry, so we'll use an example in terms of health and fitness and wellness. In a lot of cases, people have a lot of external influences from advertisers that are putting images in their minds that are leading the actions they take and the results they're getting. And in many cases, And statistics show this loud and clear. The results that we're getting are not in alignment with what we really want. They're not the results that we desire. So again, we're looking to make a change. And our work is based on the fact that there's actually another influence on our thoughts. There's another very powerful influence that in some cases people have put in the background, but we're going to bring it right into the foreground and see how much of a difference it can really make when we start letting our beliefs about who we are dictate the thoughts we think, the actions we take, and the results we get, rather than letting those external influences, those advertisers, the people that we're surrounded by, the environments that we're surrounded by, being what leads to our thoughts, our action, and our results. And as we look at this model of allowing our beliefs about who we are to determine our thinking, our action, and our results, what we've done is we've defined two things. I told you that we were going to define one of them, but we've actually defined two different things. And the first is something I think you've probably heard before. It's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if you believe that you are a certain type of person and you think the thoughts of that person, take the actions of that person, and get the results of that person, then because your results are starting with your belief about who you are, you've literally created a self-fulfilling prophecy. The other thing that we've defined with this diagram, and this is what we promised on this first video, is we have literally defined what a comfort zone is. And if there's just one thing that you could get from this video, one thing to be sure and get in writing and to capture and to fully understand, it is that a comfort zone occurs when the results that we're currently getting match our belief about who we are. When our results match our belief, we are in a comfort zone. And that's regardless of whether those results are what we want or not. So this is the first video, this is the first conclusion, this is the first promise that we made to you, is to help you understand exactly what a comfort zone is. There's two more parts to this video series. On the next video, we're going to look at why exactly we get stuck in these comfort zones. You'd think once people understood how this model works and what they could do differently, that they would get into action and make things different. But in a lot of cases, we see people getting stuck over and over again. So in our second video, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then in the third video, we'll teach you the secret. We'll teach you exactly how to use this model, to use this knowledge to bust out of those comfort zones, to create those new results that we're looking for, and most importantly, to do that in a way that those results are really going to last. So that's our first video. That is the end of part one. We hope you'll join us on our second video, which is again why we get stuck in comfort zones, and then our third video will be how to bust out of those comfort zones. Thank you for joining us here, and we'll see you on the next video.